Well, we're here with Cowboy. Thanks for joining us, man.
You're welcome, dude.
We'd like to talk about your special experiences, the things you've learned over the years, but what was it like working for Paul McCartney?
Working with Paul McCartney, he's probably the best individual that I've ever worked for before in my life. I worked for Bette Midler, which she's way up there. I worked for the Eagles, which they're up there. But I worked for Usher and Beyonce and Miley Cyrus and a lot of people. But I got to tell you, Paul McCartney was absolutely amazing. He really was.
Yeah.
He took care of his crew. Now, the last time that I worked for him, we were doing the tour where he was divorcing, what was her name?
Sarah Mills.
Yeah, Sarah Mills. Got her legs blowed off. You know what? I'm going to say something right now. Probably not going to appreciate it.
Remember, my mother's probably watching this.
I know, so I'm being very tactful, but she probably deserved to have her legs blown off. Wow. I mean, she was that kind of person.
So walk around with a couple of Filipino bodyguards?
I'm not sure if they were Filipino. I actually thought they were Samoan, but they were like really, really big dudes.
And you had to confront her one time as to say, you said
I had to confront her every day.
She didn't like you being there.
She didn't like me being there.
You were doing the lighting and the pyrotechnics and stuff like that?
I didn't do lighting. I didn't do pyrotechnics. I was the guy who flew all the stuff that the lighting and pyrotechnics were attached to.
Okay.
So you may calculate that the pyrotechnics at 30 feet are going to do this. My job was to ensure that whatever truss that the pyrotechnics were attached to actually were at 30 feet when they exploded. Because if not, you got issues.
You know, I saw Paul McCartney one time in Lima as he was coming out of a hotel with a small group of people. It was maybe 20, 25 feet away from him, really close. I was in the right place at the right time with a group of people. He was coming out on his way to a concert. But I remember him waving at us, taking photos of us, as excited to see us as we were to see him.
Who Sir Paul is.
I called my mother afterwards and said, guess who I just saw?
He is.
Paul McCartney.
Now, I've worked for other people that just...
You know, in a Rolling Stone interview, he said that he...
I'm smoking a cigarette, by the way.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with tobacco, but...
That's who I am.
Paul,
it's tobacco.
Paul said that he didn't smoke weed. That was the official account that he gave. He said he had children, and he had a sense of responsibility, and he stopped smoking weed. But I remember you telling me that he would take a hit or two before the concert.
Well, here's what I remember is before every concert, and we did 53 shows worldwide, I think it was. And then we did several more shows. We did Tiananmen Square. We did...
Oh, the one where they assured him that there wasn't going to be any rain?
Right. We did Red Square in the Soviet Union. We did Rome.
Yeah.
They literally, when we did our show in Rome, the Colosseum in Rome is still standing, but they actually covered and created a floor, and outside, when the show started, they were shooting fireworks. I mean, it was pretty amazing. It really was. But yeah, Sir Paul, he took care of his guys. He took care of everybody. Some of the people, not so much.
Now, you've worked in the security sector for even like movie stars that have had contracts put in them and whatever. What's that like going around and sequestering people who want to help out and then they...
Well, the truth is, you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
We talk about it afterwards, but I'm not mentioning any names. But there have been some stars that I do not agree with their political opinions, and I'm going to say that right up front. But you know what? Your political opinion has nothing to do with what kind of person you are. So when a person spends $10 million of their own money to ensure that you got clean water and electricity. That doesn't make them a bad person just because they don't.
But they get some blowback, and then you were
Blowback.
called to protect.
Well, what happened with us was there was a hit put out on an individual. When I say a hit, there was a ransom. The governments and the warlord did not want him to be able to continue what he was doing. So they put a hit out on him. Well, our job was to protect him.
Yeah, and you had a lot of these skills that you were able to use in the private sector because you were in covert operations. And
right.
I'm not going to reveal anything here that might be classified because that's not what I'm about. You are writing a book, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But you were able to confirm, and we can say this in a general way, false flag terrorism, self-inflicted wounds, auto attacks by the United States government, both abroad and at home. Basically, the worst nightmare about the government is you're able to confirm that they are doing the terrorism to blame it on.
Which is the reason why that I cannot return to the United States.
Yeah, they actually threatened you last time you were coming to Ecuador, said that they'd get rid of you if you came back. What was that like?
Well, what happened was, so I'm going to reveal something right now on his YouTube channel. In 1999, I was given a new identity. Okay? I actually have the paperwork in my backpack. I was given a new identity, and our identity changed regularly. Okay?
No, was this when you were already out of the service?
I was already out.
Okay.
Well, out, but still doing
the contract work.
Consulting work.
Yeah.
They didn't call it contractor work back then. It was consulting work.
Yeah, so what happened? Somebody blow your cover?
The last time that I came to Ecuador, they held the plane. I was told I couldn't load the plane, so I'm the only individual left in the friggin' terminal area. So 11 hours later, they let the plane leave. But in between that time, during those 11 hours, there was like this TSA employee. And you know what, TSA guys, okay, you're doing your job. You just don't have the right tools to do your job. So when a TSA employee tells me, oh, well, sir, you can't do this and you can't do that, my first question is, all right, who's your boss? So they brought this TSA guy in. Who's your boss? Because listen to me, everybody answers to somebody. And eventually, I got a Homeland Security guy in. And he goes, you're so-and-so. It would behoove you, his exact words were, it would behoove you not to return to the United States because you're considered a, getting the camera here, potential domestic terrorist.
You know, it's interesting to me over the years. I met you first 3 years ago. We've maintained contact, but the stuff that's happened to your team now that they've gone out, die under mysterious circumstances, get cancer, most of them are gone. And that's the thing, when you work for these intelligence agencies, you eventually, there's a knock on your door and then bye-bye. And you were telling me about this one guy when he got out of the military. He made his living teaching marksmanship, and he would buy a lot of bullets. They took him away, put him in a hole.
He wasn't a teacher. He was a professional marksman.
Okay.
It's called long-range target acquisition.
And he actually made his money going around doing this.
That's how he made his money.
I said teacher because I don't want to reveal too much because I know that
over $100,000 a year.
Yeah, we don't want to reveal too much because we know that these sort of things are a lot of the times that secret. But as I understand, the government came, they snatched him up, they put him in a hole. The wife tried to lawyer up. They eventually destroyed her, closed her bank accounts, and it's one of those things where he served his country, and now he's in a hole. He has no access to a lawyer. All he did was order some bullets online. Can you kind of talk about that?
Okay, so sorry.
Take your time.
Sorry.
I know, it's emotional.
We wrapped ourselves in a flag. We went and did the things that nobody else.
Tear down countries?
Yes. And rebuild governments.
Mm-hmm.
And we
put bombs and stuff like that.
Blew up hospitals, blew up schools.
Mm-hmm. And what happened to this guy? Talk to us about what happened to this guy, if you can. Or could I recount the story?
No, I'll do it.
Okay.
I can do it. So, I was living in Malibu at the time, and I will tell you, I'm not using real names. Okay, not at all.
Of course not.
Angela calls me at like 3 o'clock in the morning because their house was being raided, and not one single individual had any type of identification. Not sheriff, not ATF.
It was men in black.
They were just men in black.
Yeah.
But they had body armor and Kevlar helmets, black Kevlar helmets, everything. They took Angela and the 2 girls, and they handcuffed them and held them in their kitchen while they took sledgehammers and beat out the sheet wall. They took knives and sliced all the furniture, everything, because they were looking for something. Okay? If you don't think your government does this, then guess what? You're wrong.
And they arrested him, held him without trial, destroyed the wife. She couldn't do anything.
8 years they've held him under the Homeland Security Act, because under the Homeland Security Act, you have no rights.
Welcome to Bush's America. And
welcome to America.
This goes back to the idea of false flag terrorism, because you've been able to reveal that a lot of these events, like 9/11 in Oklahoma City, you've even been able to reveal that these were people in the U.S. government doing the inside job. And we're only going to say that in a general way because we're not going to reveal anything that might be classified. But the whole basis for this draconian police state was fake, because it was
absolutely
our own guys putting the bombs in the building.
It started under Carter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people remember. I mean, I'm like 6 years old, so I don't know how much of you remember this. But, during the 70s, we built a lot of embassies and consulates that were never occupied, because that was during the days of the Soviet Union. And during the days of the Soviet Union, they had people working in every construction company possible. So there was like 17, I think it was, consulate and embassies that were never occupied, because they had listening devices and everything. So when Carter came in, and let me say this, all right? I'm not political, but I'll make a political statement. I hope you're okay with this. People go, Cowboy, you conservative, you liberal? I'm like, nope.
You're a rationalist.
I am a rationalist. If it's rational, then I'll believe in it and I'll promote it. Jimmy Carter was probably the most rational president that we've had since John F. Kennedy. Okay. One of the things he did was, okay, well, we're going to bulldoze all of these embassies. We're going to bulldoze all of these consulates. But from now on, we're going to ensure that this can never happen. So one of the things he did is some of you may have heard of DLI, okay? And this is not a secret, all right, but just not something people know about. Defense Language Institute. They have the blueprints for every federal building around the world. So before we would have to do our job, we would have to go to DLI. It's on the belt loop of Baltimore. It's not a big secret. Have a flat tire on the belt loop and see what happens. Okay? So it's not like it's a big secret. So, but anyway, what happened in Oklahoma City? What happened at the Twin Trade Towers? Not possible. Not even possible.
Yeah, a lot of what we talk about, we could be accused of being pessimists, but actually, when you meet guys like this who turn their talents for the good, they can really do a lot. And we want to talk about, I think one of the most positive things I've ever heard in my entire life came from you, and that's why I've been waiting for 3 years to do this interview. You've made some discoveries in science that I consider earth-shattering, nothing short of earth-shattering. Breakthrough technology and free energy. You were able to design a mechanism for your house in Los Angeles so that you didn't pay any electricity. And it was the development of Tesla technology. There's a guy whose house here in Ecuador is
right here in Oklahoma
is wired, and you actually have several of these inventions. And remember the last time I was here, you actually drew a diagram for me that was so simple, so easy to understand. I could have gone to the hardware store and got a couple guys together and started building it.
In the Radio Shack, you built most of it.
Talk to us about your house in California, how you wired it so that it was clean energy, free energy.
Well, I'm not going to talk about the house in California. I'm going to talk about the idea in general. Okay? I started looking at perpetual motion to start with. And I've created some perpetual motion devices. But when it comes to energy, perpetual motion isn't really perpetual. Okay? Because the second that you start drawing energy away from it, then you start reducing its energy. All right? But it works. It works. It works because...
How long does it take you to build it?
About 6 weeks.
About 6 weeks?
Yeah.
And is it all right if I tell a little bit about what you told me earlier about the frequencies?
Sure, go ahead.
You're able to use one solar panel, but then in case that gets out from overhead spraying, blocking the sun, you actually have a battery that's able to keep it going.
18-volt marine batteries.
Mm-hmm. But the government doesn't want people to know this advice because it would put the power companies out of business.
Everybody.
Yeah. Did it have anything to do with the triangles and you had to spin it around?
Okay, so this is a totally different device. Okay, so I started looking at frequencies. All right. Now you need to understand. I want to provide free energy to the world. Okay, I'm not looking for money. I'm not looking for anything. I'm just, spending my adult life in Africa and seeing these people.
Talk to us about the physical mechanics behind the machine.
Okay.
Where was it drawing the energy from?
So you're talking about the globe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I figured out that if you take triangles and you make them out of glass, it doesn't work if you make them out of metal. It doesn't work if you make them out of plastic. But if you take off these triangles out of glass and you put them all together, 64 dihedrals, you get a perfect globe. Okay.
Dihedrals. There's that word again.
Dihedrals.
Dihedrals. Okay.
Dihedrals. All right. So then we put another globe on the inside. Okay. So you've got a globe on the outside, a globe on the inside. Okay. They're made out of triangles. We've used hexagons, sexagons. We've used plastic. We've used everything. Nothing works except for glass, and it has to be triangles. Okay. So here's what we did. We blasted this globe with different frequencies. And for some reason, and you know what? I've studied physics for 50 frigging years, and I do not understand why that when we blast this globe with frequencies, it starts generating energy. But the thing is, the generation of energy is not perpetual. It starts dying down. So we started. Should I talk about this? We started looking. We realized there has to be a perfect frequency. Has to be. So it took us about 3 years. The perfect energy is Om.
Just a recording of it,
Just a recording.
played into the little triangles.
That harmonic put inside that globe creates perpetual energy.
And tell us about this guy's house in Vilcabamba that he doesn't have to pay any bills because he has this machine. How long did it take you to make it for him?
8 years.
Wow.
Well, for him, only about 1 year, but there was a lot of research that went into it before that.
Okay. But you could turn somebody's house into this in a short time.
I could probably run a 1,100 square foot house off of 2 energy devices that are no more than maybe the size of a pack of cigarettes.
Now that this current president has invited U.S. Marines and they're running all over the place, reactivating some of the old U.S. military bases, there's going to be a lot more of a imperialist presence here. Do you think that the people here could really come together and see some of these inventions integrated?
Right now, no. Within 3 years, yes.
Are you going to be leading the charge?
I hope so.
Tell us about the book you're writing.
Yes, I'm writing a book.
3 books. Actually.
It's about my life, and it's turned into 3 books.
Is it going to talk about your time doing the special operations?
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to talk about everything. It's being written under a pseudonym, so no, I'm not going to tell you what the name is. But my thing is, I've been involved with so much stuff in my life that I think people really need to know. I have this thing right now is I am tired, sick and tired of listening to people push people around because the other people don't know the truth.
And I like to have you come on my YouTube channel just to give political analysis for current events, because as somebody who's lived on the inside of this for so long, you really have a
All right, let's go.
unique perspective. We see every day in the media how they're trying to divide people, and Trump kind of plays the middle. I, for one, have been a little disappointed in Trump because I thought he was going to fight corruption. He stacks his cabinet with generals, and you wonder who's really in control. This concept of the deep state, and they're pulling the strings, doing the weather modification. How aware do you think Trump is? He talked about stopping a hurricane with throwing a nuclear bomb in it, but it seems like he's kind of a stooge in a lot of ways. I don't know if it's possible to have a lesser of two evils. Probably not. What's your take on Trump and everything that's coming down? The clown show that is the Democratic Party.
I have 2 things to say about Trump. He's a genius and a
Remember, my mother's
and a
watching
friggin'
this.
idiot.
Public access television.
Well, you probably said you come over. Okay, so why is he a genius and why is he an idiot? Well, it takes a genius to recognize an idiot. It takes a genius to realize that 84% of your voting population are idiots. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but
well, it's even worse in Latin America because they have mandatory voting. So everybody that doesn't care about politics, the least informed, they have to vote or they'll get fined. And so everybody.
Oh, you can get a matricula. You can update your matricula. Oh, a matricula in South America is like the license for your vehicle. Mm-hmm. And every time you vote, they make a stamp, and you can get your matricula.
So it's kind of a race to the bottom. Whatever politician can promise the most money. So, but it's kind of a situation in the U.S. where there's also the people don't care about politics. They just believe the media, and so they.
It's what I call the light switch mentality. Mm-hmm. Okay, folks, light switch mentality. You work all day. You come home at the end of the day. You walk in the front door. You flip on the light switch. Okay?
What do you think? Let's wrap things up. What do you think the plan is the elites have for the United States?
Boy,
what's the end game?
I don't think we can actually identify the end game within the next 4 years.
You know, back when Obama was president, he ordered all those Navy SEALs onto the helicopter, and then somebody blew it up.
Didn't happen.
Okay.
Well, no. Actually, that did happen. All of the people who were involved in the friggin' what was his name? I totally forget now.
SEAL team disappearing.
But it's like,
were there ever repercussions? Other SEALs taken out?
Never.
General? No repercussions. Were they knew too much? Were they the people that saw the phony Bin Laden raid?
Okay, Bin Laden. And since you brought it up, I'm going to go to it. Muslim. Funeral procession is very important. So you're going to kill a Muslim and dump him in the ocean?
Yeah, right.
With no records?
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Never going to happen.
Yeah, this was 10 years after he was hiding in the cave on dialysis, being visited by CIA agents in the hospital in Pakistan for his dialysis treatment.
Well, I'm going to say this.
For the videos they have of him looking totally different.
I'm going to say this. During the first Desert Storm, there were 3 sniper teams that were, their job was to watch Saddam Hussein. We knew what he ate for breakfast. We knew his girlfriends. We knew what times he got up in the middle of the night taking a pee. And then suddenly, at the end, it's all over CNN, okay? Oh, nobody knows where Saddam Hussein is.
Yeah, what a joke that was.
No, seriously. We're sitting in our little base in Jordan going, wait a minute, we've been on him 24/7 for months.
Yeah.
But we knew what it was about. It's called credible threat. There is a term deep in the United States government called a credible threat. I don't care what Congress says. I don't care if they're Democratic or Republican. They all follow the same rules. It's called credible threat. So we left Saddam Hussein out there because he was a credible threat.
They need these threats to create the next Reichstag fire. You know, I want to talk about something else. You said that back when you were a soldier, you get injections every month, and you didn't know
every 6 months.
Every 6 months, you didn't know what you were getting. At any time, they could have just killed you and you'd be gone. But you think they were enhancing you guys.
Well, I didn't expect this question, but I'm going to answer it anyway. I've been in the mountains for a week, haven't shaved, but normally people put me at like 35.
Yeah.
Truth is,
Well, they put me at 35 too. I'm 44. So.
well, I'm over 60.
Okay. Well, once you have those skills, they never leave you because you're so well trained. And what's inspiring for me is that you're actually using those skills that before you were killing people, now you're using those skills to further humanity. And this stuff about the free energy is so earth-shattering.
Well, I hope I'm furthering humanity.
Yeah. And you actually stopped the research with the frequencies because of concern that it might be weaponized?
It could be weaponized.
Isn't that how they do the earthquakes and stuff? They send frequencies?
No, it involves frequencies, but
isn't it true, though, that a mood is a frequency? So there's a mood for confusion or a mood for anger. So
I am a mathematician. I can identify love by a formula.
Now, you're telling me earlier that inanimate objects even have frequencies that you can dial into if you know what you're doing.
Yes. Absolutely. The reason why I stopped my research, I think I gave you the example, so I'm going to use the example. So if you take a wine glass or a champagne flute and you take a tuning fork and you hit it, okay, at some point, that champagne flute's going to rupture. It's going to burst, it's going to break because the two of them matched resonant frequencies. Everything, and let me see if I can do this on camera, glasses, hair, skin, clothes, they all have a resonant frequency. The problem is, two resonant frequencies cannot exist in the same time continuum. They just can't. That's the reason why a champagne flute ruptures and breaks it with a tuning fork. Now, my other energy device is built upon energy. It's built upon frequencies.
Where does it pull the frequencies from? How do you grab the frequencies?
Frequencies are all day, every day.
What's generating the frequencies, though?
Well, for instance, the champagne flute and the tuning fork is generating frequency. It just needs to be able to grab that frequency. Okay? So this is what's going on. So my issue was, can I give the example I gave you earlier?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's just say you got a 727 flying 100 miles off the coast of California. If you know what its resonant frequency is, because all metals have a resonant frequency, you don't have to know the resonant frequency of the aircraft. You just need to know the resonant frequency of the skin of the aircraft. If you match that resonant frequency, it is just like the tuning fork on the champagne flute.
Yeah.
It's going to blow apart. And guess what? It can't be traced.
Well, I think we see this already when Congress people disappear, mysterious downings of flights like Malaysian aircraft, and then you look at who's on board, and you think maybe they're trying to get rid of people. But we like to get more into the specific science, and if there's any engineers that are watching that want to sponsor some of this work, making free energy, contact me through the YouTube, and I hope that, Cowboy, I hope this is one of many interviews that we can do.
I hope
your unique
but I do want to say one
things.
thing.
Yeah.
one is less than many.
What do you mean by that, sir?
One is less than many.
One is less than many. Okay, what does that mean?
Kill one person to save 100. It was, as a sniper, that was our saying. It's
But,
how we.
Yeah, but you've been out of the business for a while, haven't you?
For a bit.
Yeah.
But it's a saying within all governments. One is less than many.
That's very profound, Terry. Well, it's been great, and hopefully we can do this again when I'm in your neck of the woods.
Well, maybe next time I'll shave.
Yeah, me too.